You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
An old motel could be transformed into a place to help recovering drug addicts, but neighbors are afraid it'll become a magnet for crime. Why supporters say it'll do just the opposite.
This model program has not been the type of program San Francisco has used in the past.
Plus, a new tool helping clear the roads for first responders. We're riding along with a fire captain who shows us how it can save precious seconds in an emergency.
You know, you can tell when people have a little bit of a heads up that we're coming because they could be 2 or 3 cars ahead and they're already starting to pull over.
And we are going to meet the people behind a Bay Area program helping members of the LGBTQ community overcome housing discrimination.
A landlord might just look at the application and say, forget it. And so that's sort of where we come in.
They were a blessing. I feel like God sent them for me.
Thanks for joining us this Tuesday. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to have those stories and a lot more right after our news headlines, starting with a deadly crash involving a motorcycle and a big rig early this morning on 580 in Livermore. The CHP shut down all eastbound lanes between 3 a.m. Between Airway Boulevard and Isabel Avenue. Investigators have not given much more information, but they do say that all lanes have since reopened. The Richmond-San Rafael Bridge back open after yesterday's traffic mess. Emergency crews shut down several lanes for hours after concrete started breaking apart on the upper deck. All lanes reopened last night. A UC Berkeley professor told us despite this emergency, it's nothing to be too concerned about.
The good news is that this is, in my view, looking at just one picture, it looks to me very, very likely this is just local. One place. This is called punching shear. So it is not like concrete got bad and loose and old and fell off.
He says crumbling concrete will help happen from time to time, but it should not impact the bridge's overall stability. The Trump administration threatening legal trouble for California public schools if they don't ban transgender athletes from competing in girls' sports. The Justice Department has given school districts until Monday to notify the agency in writing that they plan to comply. The Justice Department says allowing trans athletes to compete is unconstitutional. President Trump weighed in on social media last night criticizing the state for allowing trans athlete A.B. Hernandez to compete in the girls' state track and field finals this past weekend. He threatened large-scale fines as a result. Lots of police activity in Oakland overnight. This is at 23rd Street and San Pablo Avenue. Officers blocked off the area and searched through trash cans there. Not clear what they were looking for. And then we're told about 2 hours later, police were searching an area about a half mile away at 32nd and San Pablo. No word on if those cases are connected. Evacuation orders have been lifted in Fairfield after a brush fire threatened some homes yesterday. Flames scorched more than 60 acres just west of I-80 along Vista Grande.
This is actually the first time that we personally had to deal with it, and so knowing whether or not we're prepared, our family has a plan, and that we are capable of managing the stress in that situation, it's good to know that we have prepared appropriately.
And it ended well. No homes were lost and nobody was hurt. Now to our first alert weather. An air quality advisory has been extended through tomorrow. That is because of smoke coming in from those wildfires in Canada. Meteorologist Zoe Mintz has a look at our forecast.
We're looking at another beautiful day across the bay as western parts of the United States are actually really quiet right now. High pressure continues to build overhead, just a bit of that marine layer and those foggy starts to our morning. But other than that, really not all too much to worry about. Get out and enjoy yourself today. Temperature is very normal for this time of year. For our inland communities down in the Santa Clara Valley, about 5 degrees above normal, sitting in the low 80s today. But the closer to the coast you get, it is going to be a degree below average here in San Francisco and even for Oakland as the onshore flow is returning this afternoon. The onshore winds will be gusting anywhere from 20 to 30 miles an hour, and it's mainly going to be the windiest along the Golden Gate. So again, that's why San Francisco and Oakland are a couple of degrees cooler today, but really it's still going to be a nice one out there this afternoon. By tomorrow, we are going to be noticing our wind gust increasing just a little bit. but overall, it's not going to be doing anything in terms of bringing down our temperatures. Temperatures are going to remain pretty seasonable, pretty constant over the next several days. But today, we won't be noticing as much of that marine layer or that microclimates in full force. 62 along our coast, then downtown 65 degrees. And then along the bay, we'll also be seeing, as you head across the Golden Gate and across the Bay Bridge, temperatures increasing a little bit, but again, it's really inland and across the Oakland Hills that you'll begin to see more of those warming temperatures. And an even bigger warm up is on the way into this upcoming weekend before a gradual cool down heads our way. So overall, kind of depends on where you're located, how warm you'll be. Like I said, inland areas within a degree or two above average, coastal communities within a degree or two below average. But overall, still really nice sunny skies, gorgeous weather from our coastal communities to our inland areas to areas around the bay. I highly suggest you get out for this first full week of June and enjoy yourself. You'll be waking up each morning with a little bit of fog. That fog will be burning off by the afternoon and leading to plenty of sunshine.
A neighborhood in San Francisco that is known for its restaurants and nightlife might soon be getting a new addition, a sober living facility. It's located at the site of an old motel at Octavia and Lombard Street in the Marina. It will have 68 beds and full sobriety will be required. That is something that's new for the city. As Kenny Choi tells us, the idea is to completely remove recovering addicts from harmful environments. But others worry about what it might bring to the neighborhood.
Steve Adami spent 2 decades in and out of prison, struggling to escape a vicious cycle of drug addiction and crime.
When you see that picture on the left, what do you think? Who was that guy?
You know, it's somebody I don't recognize anymore. It was definitely somebody that needed a lot of help and support to get his life together, and that's what I got.
Tackling San Francisco's drug and homelessness crisis is now Adami's mission as executive director of the Salvation Army's The Way Out program.
Areas of the city have been overrun by public drug use, open-air drug markets, and crime. I don't want that model in my neighborhood either, but that's not the model we're proposing at the Marina Inn.
The recovery housing facility, providing 68 beds at Octavia and Lombard Street in the Marina District, will be operated by the Salvation Army in partnership with the city's Department of Public Health. It's an abstinence-based 2-year transitional housing program for people who have already completed long-term drug treatment.
This model program has not been the type of program San Francisco has used in the past.
Everyone is required to work, save money, and get drug tested.
Sadly, many of the residents of this facility will relapse. Statistics just show that to be the case. And when they do, they're now in our neighborhood.
While many residents believe drug-free transitional housing can help clean up city streets and even help nearby businesses, others like Maurice Fitzgerald say they're concerned about relapses and participants who have criminal backgrounds.
We have concerns that this will increase break-ins of cars, that desperate drug addicts will do whatever they need to do to find the money to get their fix.
Adami and other city officials say sex offenders, arsonists, and people who have committed crimes against children won't be allowed. Garrett Collard is a resident at a similar recovery housing program. He says he would be back on the streets if it weren't for Salvation Army's pilot program.
You're just right back where you started.
Right.
You go in 6 months, you're clean, but if you have nowhere else to go and you can't stay in another program or go to some sober living environment, you're back on the streets.
Adami points to participants like Collard and to recovering addicts like himself as reasons to support the city's Break the Cycle initiative, aiming to add hundreds of new treatment and recovery beds across the city.
The current administration and the Department of Public Health and the Department of Homelessness are now implementing new abstinence-based strategies because they've proven to be effective.
It's programs like this that are giving Adami hope others can follow in his footsteps too.
Late last month, Mayor Daniel Lurie touted the grand opening of another similar sober living facility. This is the first one in the city at the Civic Center Inn that's on 9th and Harrison. It is part of his plan to add 300 treatment and interim housing beds at 5 sites across the city by the end of the summer. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area. Lights and sirens are not always enough. How some first responders are using a new tool to clear the roads on their way to an emergency. Plus, we are hearing from the surfer who got up close and personal with a shark at a Bay Area beach.
I felt something under my foot, kicked me off the board, and saw this like big mouth just grabbing onto my board.
Yeah, he is going to explain how he manages to escape. And finding affordable housing in the Bay Area can be a real challenge, but sometimes that's especially true for members of the LGBTQ community. Now, one program is helping change lives.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
We're looking at another gorgeous day across the bay. Temperatures within a degree or two of seasonable. Upper 60s to low 70s basically each and every day this upcoming week with not all too much to worry about. We'll be waking up each morning with that fog and that marine layer, and by the afternoon it will be burning off. So overall, really nice weather. Any outdoor plans, especially inland, you should be good to go with temperatures, again, very normal for this time of year. This weekend it's going to be heating up a bit more, but overall, get out and enjoy yourself this June.
When emergencies and crashes happen, firefighters are often the first on scene. Well, now a fire department in Marin County has a new tool to help them respond even faster. Kira St. Cyr explains why that means tapping into your phone.
With several years on the force, Captain Dean Riddle knows that seconds are a matter of life and death.
You know, nowadays with the cars and how they're built, cars are designed to be quiet on the inside so that way you can hear what you're doing, what you're listening to. Unfortunately, they're so soundproof that a lot of the outside doesn't necessarily come in.
Although state laws mandate motorists move over for emergency vehicles, firefighters often push through congested roads to get to an emergency situation.
Emergency vehicle reported ahead.
But a new tool could help pave the way. The Southern Marin Fire District now has the Safety Cloud, an alert system that notifies drivers when an emergency vehicle is nearby.
And it was reported by a Haas alert 48 seconds ago.
All Riddle has to do is switch on his lights.
The Haas alerting system is tied into this system here. So once we turn the lights on, it will automatically activate the alerting system.
Apple Maps, Google Maps, and cars made in 2018 or later will get a notification, providing time for the driver to pull over.
Seeing it happen in real time is a definite benefit for us. You know, you can tell when people have a little bit of a heads up that we're coming because they could be 2 or 3 cars ahead and they're already starting to pull over.
Fire Chief Chris Tubbs says the technology can help save lives.
This is about trying to increase the safety to our firefighters who respond to our emergencies, our law enforcement officers, and the highway workers who are out there with us on those motor vehicle accidents.
The Safety Cloud is already installed, and the lights, they're ready to go.
Really neat actually to see it happening in real time.
With a safer route for everyone.
The alert system is designed to give drivers a 30-second warning that an emergency vehicle is coming. VTA employees set to vote on a new contract today, nearly 3 months after a strike brought service to a standstill. You might remember the transit agency says its latest offer includes a 14% raise over 4 years, more health benefits, and new workplace policies. It's been more than 2 months since a judge ordered the workers off the picket line and back to work. You may have to pay more to use your cell phone to pay for parking in San Francisco. The board is proposing raising the fee from 10 cents to 35 cents. In some cases, it could go up by almost 40 cents. The agency says the hike would match the service fee that it pays to its mobile payment contractors. Well, there is a surfer with quite a story to tell after a shark took a bite out of his board at a San Mateo County beach. It happened at Montera State Beach on Saturday. That is between Pacifica and Half Moon Bay. The surfer tells our photojournalist Rick Villaroman that he was literally eye to eye with that shark.
Well, I was sitting on the board actually, and then I felt something under my foot. Kicked me off the board.
It's the stuff of nightmares.
Saw this big mouse just grabbing onto my board.
A nightmare that 42-year-old Jens Heller didn't expect when he got in the water Saturday afternoon to surf. But it's one he's likely to remember for the rest of his life. As Jens was waiting to catch a wave, a shark sank its teeth into his surfboard.
A bit, I guess, here. And then also on this side, you can see the mouth here. About where this wave is breaking now, a bit further.
It happened just 100 yards offshore from Montera State Beach, where he, his wife Ingrid, and 6-month-old daughter Linnea were enjoying the warm weather. A family outing that nearly ended in tragedy.
I just remember being in the water, looking back, seeing this black eye and the teeth of the shark.
That's when self-preservation kicked in. Once the shark let go of his board, he jumped back on and paddled ashore.
It felt like I couldn't paddle fast enough. It felt like I'm in slow motion while I was trying to get away. I was like, man, the shark will be so much faster than me if he really wants to get me.
Another surfer who was in the water near Jens estimated the shark was 10 feet long, which would make it a juvenile. Today, back on land, Jens knows that people typically aren't on the menu for sharks. There's only been one other shark attack in California this year, in San Diego. No injuries in that incident either.
I would say I was really unlucky first because these shark attacks are really rare. And then I was super lucky because there was an attack. There was pretty considerable damage to my board, and still I'm here without any scratch.
But for his wife, it's a hard pill to swallow.
She couldn't believe it because she has had fear of sharks ever since growing up. And so when I told her I just survived a shark attack, I was just attacked by a shark, she was like, that's impossible.
But because love is thicker than water,
she knows that I will not be happy if I'm not in the water anymore. So I think she's of course concerned, but she also wants me to be happy.
His next outing?
If I have time next weekend, I'm going next weekend. I'll see.
An invasive golden mussel was found at an inspection station in the Lake Tahoe area, and this is the first time that that's happened. They were found on a 65-foot boat on Friday, and the boat is now going to be held in quarantine until officials believe there is no longer a risk. The golden mussels can stick to vessels and then can clog waterways and really harm the ecosystem. They have the potential to do billions of dollars in damage to water infrastructure. Boat owners in the East Bay already feeling the impacts. They can no longer move boats from lake to lake without inspection, and boats have to be clean and dry. That is a process that can take up to a week. East Bay Mud has also banned any new watercraft from its reservoirs. Still ahead, finding affordable housing here in the Bay Area can be a challenge for all of us, but that can be especially true for the LGBTQ community.
Being profiled, having people automatically assume I'd be a nightmare tenant, having people just like make assumptions about me.
We're going to talk with one renter about a program that he says changed his life. June is Pride Month, and here at CBS News Bay Area, we're going to be highlighting the triumphs as well as some of the struggles within the LGBTQ community. And one of those struggles can be finding housing around the Bay Area and in San Francisco. Suji Nam introduces us to William Anthony, who says that he was facing housing discrimination until the Abode program stepped in.
I live in this kitchen. So I cook here, I do a lot of baking. It's really fun.
William Anthony moved into this apartment in San Francisco 2 years ago, and he loves it.
This is where I'll answer emails. I use my laptop to edit short films and school projects, also to get paperwork done for work.
He's a paraeducator for the San Francisco School District and is also studying cinema in college.
This is for Special Olympics. This is Some of my students got these awards.
Anthony said, however, his journey getting here wasn't easy. After his brother passed away, he moved to Brazil to be with family. But with unforeseen circumstances, he accumulated debt. In hopes for a better future, he moved to San Francisco. But Anthony said, as a gay man with a disability, his housing search was a struggle.
Being profiled, having people automatically assume I'd be a nightmare tenant, having people just like make assumptions about me.
But he found help.
Cool. Yeah.
Julia Parmer is the senior program manager for Abode, a housing nonprofit that serves low-income and unhoused families.
We got him plugged in with a service coordinator, a case manager, and a housing specialist.
Anthony is one of more than 2,500 Abode clients receiving housing resources. But while he got the help, that's not the case for many others. The city faces a crisis with the unhoused in the LGBTQ+ community. According to the San Francisco 2024 homelessness point-in-time count, 28% of the more than 950 people surveyed in the homeless community identify as LGBTQ+. And the statistic is higher for the unhoused youth. 38% identified as LGBTQ+ and younger than 18 years old.
A landlord might just look at the application and say, forget it. And so that's sort of where we come in, is we build those partnerships with landlords out in the community so that we know who we can go to, and we sort of have a stock of housing.
But through programs like Abode, community members are helping more people like Anthony get the help they need.
They were a blessing. I feel like God sent them for me.
Abode helped pay off Anthony's debt and moved him into his apartment. That's now become a safe space where he shares many laughs with friends.
Don't let labels define you. We are so much more than whatever group society puts us in.
Anthony says he is grateful for the help and plans to pay it forward.
Well, San Francisco Pride Month festivities will wrap up with the annual parade coming up on Sunday, June 29th. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, an entire living space dropped directly into somebody's backyard. Now, some local homeowners are hoping to fast-track the process of adding an ADU. Plus, they look kind of creepy and they can be deadly. But rattlesnakes actually do a lot of good for our ecosystem. We're going to introduce you to a researcher who is rising to their defense.
We need to respect them, okay? And they're gonna be here, and they're gonna be here no matter what.
streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us this Tuesday. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's another look at our news headlines. A deadly crash involving a motorcycle and a big rig early this morning on 580 in Livermore. CHP shut down all eastbound lanes at around 3 a.m. between Airway Boulevard and Isabel Avenue. Investigators have not given much more information, but they do say that all lanes have been reopened. The Richmond-San Rafael Bridge back open after yesterday's traffic mess. Drivers were stuck for hours as emergency crews had to shut down several lanes because concrete started breaking apart on the upper deck. All lanes reopened last night, and experts tell us that crumbling concrete happens from time to time and that it should not impact the bridge's overall stability. The Trump administration threatening legal trouble for California public schools if they don't ban transgender athletes from competing in girls' sports. The Justice Department has given school districts until Monday to notify the agency in writing that they plan to comply. The Department of Justice says allowing trans athletes to compete is unconstitutional. President Trump has threatened large-scale fines. Now let's get over to our first alert forecast. An air quality advisory has been extended now through tomorrow because of smoke that's coming in from wildfires burning in Canada. Here's meteorologist Zoe Mintz.
We're looking at another beautiful day across the bay as western parts of the United States are actually really quiet right now. High pressure continues to build overhead, just a bit of that marine layer and those foggy starts to our morning. But other than that, really not all too much to worry about. Get out and enjoy yourself today. Temperature is very normal for this time of year. For our inland communities down in the Santa Clara Valley, about 5 degrees above normal, sitting in the low 80s today. But the closer to the coast you get, it is going to be a degree below average here in San Francisco and even for Oakland as the onshore flow is returning this afternoon. The onshore winds will be gusting anywhere from 20 to 30 miles an hour, and it's mainly going to be the windiest along the Golden Gate. So again, that's why San Francisco and Oakland are a couple of degrees cooler today, but really it's still going to be a nice one out there this afternoon. By tomorrow, we are going to be noticing our wind gust increasing just a little bit. But overall, it's not going to be doing anything in terms of bringing down our temperatures. Temperatures are going to remain pretty seasonable, pretty constant over the next several days. But today, we won't be noticing as much of that marine layer or that microclimates in full force. 62 along our coast, then downtown 65 degrees. And then along the bay, we'll also be seeing as you head across the Golden Gate and across the Bay Bridge, temperatures increasing a little bit, but again, it's really inland and across the Oakland Hills that you'll begin to see more of those warming temperatures. And an even bigger warm up is on the way into this upcoming weekend before a gradual cool down heads our way. So overall, kind of depends on where you're located, how warm you'll be. Like I said, inland areas within a degree or two above average, coastal communities within a degree or two below average. But overall, still really nice sunny skies, gorgeous weather from our coastal communities to our inland areas to areas around the bay. I highly suggest you get out for this first full week of June and enjoy yourself. You'll be waking up each morning with a little bit of fog. That fog will be burning off by the afternoon and leading to plenty of sunshine.
It was a sight to see in the South Bay as an affordable housing solution was literally dropped into a family's backyard. Check it out. The whole neighborhood came out to see this accessory dwelling unit, or ADU, lifted by a crane and installed into the yard. Arlen Ramirez spoke with the homeowner who calls the new space a game changer.
The sleek, modern ADU arrived on the back of a semi-truck, ready to be lifted by crane and installed in the backyard of a Campbell home, all in just one day.
Samara just checked a lot of boxes, so...
That's Owen, the homeowner, who says it's going to be a game changer for his extended family.
Mainly for my parents or in-laws. They like to come visit and stay with us for a couple months every once in a while, to spend more time with their grandkids. And so we thought having this dedicated space that's detached from the main house would really make everyone feel more comfortable.
ADUs, or accessory dwelling units, are small but versatile, usually ranging from 400 to 1,200 square feet. They're used as in-law suites, rentals, home offices, even housing for adult children. Samara, the Redwood City company that manufactured this home, says it's part of a broader strategy to address housing shortages without drastically changing a neighborhood's character. And with new zoning laws in cities like Campbell, the process of getting permits has become easier and faster.
Campbell has a great program called the ADU Express Plan Check, and we were able to get a permit submitted and issued in 7 days. So this customer signed with us just before the new year, and they're going to be in this home, in less than 6 months here in June.
Once the house was secured to the crane, it was gently hoisted into the air and lifted about 50 feet over Owen's main home. Neighbors gathered around to watch, and after only about 8 minutes, crews guided the unit onto its pre-made foundation.
Very exciting. It looks bigger in person. I think one of the neighbors says that's one of the most exciting things that's happened on the street.
Owen says the total cost of this one-bedroom, one-bath home was about $300,000, including the cost of the unit about $170,000, plus transportation and installation. A deck will be added to the front porch area, and there will still be plenty of space left in the yard. Experts say ADUs are here to stay.
You show up, there's a foundation, and at the end of the day, home drops out of the sky, and there's your home.
It's a flexible, more affordable alternative in a tough housing market, and for families like Owen's, it's not just a structure, it's a solution.
Well, many cities now offer online resources for homeowners interested in building an ADU, and some, like Berkeley, are even offering amnesty to homeowners who built one on their property already illegally. After several delays, city workers in Oakland are now officially back in the office. That mandate is supposed to help improve city operations while bringing life back to the downtown area. City workers will need to report to the office 3 days out of the week. The return seemed to have a slow start, though. We spoke with an employee at a sandwich shop who says she actually saw fewer customers yesterday.
We expected everybody to come back to work. It's probably 60% less people than it usually is around here. The plaza is empty. Everybody's closing down around here.
We asked the city for the number of remote workers who might have returned to the office. So far, we have not received a response. As for other cities, San Francisco workers are going to return to the office on August 18th. That was supposed to happen in April, but the mayor delayed the deadline after pushback from the unions. But state employees will be required to return to the office at least 4 days a week starting on July 1st. Well, most people are not big fans of rattlesnakes. They look mean, they can sound scary, and can pack a deadly bite. But there's a lot of good that these snakes do for our ecosystem, as long as you keep your distance. Brian Hackney introduces us to a Northern California professor who travels all over the state, and we mean all over, teaching others how to deal with rattlers humanely.
Out beyond the highways of the western deserts, past the palm trees of Palm Springs, where the desert towns sprawl over the desert itself, snakes begin to emerge from their long winter's nap, and that gets residents very rattled.
This is a community that is really interested in wildlife and nature.
Mitch Spike heads up security for the residents out here.
They don't like killing animals, so I had to try to find an alternative.
Oh my God, I love him.
So Mitch engaged the expert.
Such a mellow species of snake. Hi, nice to see you too. My name's Emily, and I'm a biology professor at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, where this June is my 20-year anniversary.
Today, she's got a classroom full of security guards.
You don't need to like rattlesnakes like I do, right? You were just saying rattlesnakes aren't your favorite, but we need to respect them, okay? And they're gonna be here, and they're gonna be here no matter what.
And when they are, the first people called are the guards.
And they need to learn how to safely move those rattlesnakes out of the way instead of killing them. It's an ethical thing to do.
That may have the nearby bighorns scratching their heads, but in a classroom at the Boyd Deep Canyon Reserve, these folks have signed up to learn how to safely snag a snake.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get the snake out right now. We're just gonna get the snake out, and we're gonna catch that snake.
And listen to this. That's the actual snake rattling.
Handsome. So this is a nice, big, speckled rattlesnake. They get bigger than this, though. That was great.
It's one thing to get them out.
If the snake crawls towards you, please back away and stay about 10 feet away from the snake.
Oh, don't come after the cameraman.
Kind of support the body a little bit like so, to help get him into the bucket like that.
Finesse is important. About 2,000 people a year are bitten by rattlesnakes.
This was a $600,000 medical bill to a Boy Scout that was bitten by a rattlesnake. A full $150,000 of that was for the anti-venom. Okay, are you ready? Who's ready?
That's why they need this training.
So I pick up the snake by mid-body, And I'm gonna put him into the bucket head first if I can't get him all the way in. Oh, he's gonna be a good training snake. Okay, so let's have some of the experienced folks go first. A great adjustment. So just kind of aim more up here, and then you'll get a mid-body. Nice job, you've got him right in a good spot. It is really funny looking back how you find yourself in this niche specialty of being a venomous snake specialist. Do your best to try to get him in there. They were such fascinating animals. Oh, great adjustment, nicely done. And also people have learned that these animals are really important for our ecosystem. They help control rodents, the mothers give birth to live babies, and when people learn all these things about them, they don't quite see them as vermin anymore, and they want to be able to relocate them. Unfortunately, snakes are really negatively portrayed in most places on TV and the internet. Hi, handsome. What I really wish people understood was that these are complicated, fascinating animals that do far more good for us than they do harm. Great adjustment. Like a pro. I love it. And that's what I'm trying to change their reputation.
One snake charming class.
Snake pose. There we go.
At a time.
2, 3. All right.
Nicely done.
Well, if you want to recruit Dr. Taylor for a lesson on removing rattlesnakes or first aid when somebody gets bit, you can reach out through her website, EmilyTaylorScience.com. Coming up next, Northern California softball team just wrapped up a championship season, but they're actually getting more attention for something they did away from the diamond. The digital detox now drawing the attention of UC researchers and the Giants.
I knew it would be really hard because it's like a part of us.
It actually brought me to tears on stage. I did not foresee 100% participation.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
looking at another gorgeous day across the bay. Temperatures within a degree or two of seasonable. Upper 60s to low 70s basically each and every day this upcoming week, with not all too much to worry about. We'll be waking up each morning with that fog and that marine layer, and by the afternoon it will be burning off. So overall, really nice weather. Any outdoor plans, especially inland, you should be good to go with temperatures, again, very normal for this time of year. This weekend it's going to be heating up a bit more, but overall, get out and enjoy yourself this June.
We are hearing from one of the athletes who medaled at this weekend's state track and field championships. The event attracted national attention because of a transgender athlete's participation and some new rule changes. Brooke White is a teen from Sacramento who won the silver medals in the girls' 100-meter hurdles and the girls' long jump, a placement she shared with transgender athlete A.B. Hernandez. Hernandez has been under scrutiny from people who do not want to see trans athletes participating in women's sports, including President Trump. Brooke says she was impressed by the way Hernandez handled all the criticism.
It made me really emotional, seeing how people could be so hateful to a 16-year-old girl. It also eased me a lot to talk to Avi personally and see how she was handling the situation as a rock star. Like, just, you know, she PR'd, and I'm pretty sure all 3 events.
Last week, the California Interscholastic Federation announced a new policy allowing an additional student to compete in and medal in events where Hernandez qualified. They wrapped up a championship season, but it is what a Placer County softball team did off the field that is really setting them apart, even got the attention of the San Francisco Giants. As Brady Hableib reports, during the heat of their season, they gave up their smartphones for an entire month.
Right over the top.
At Del Oro High School in Loomis, the girls' softball team just wrapped up their best season yet.
Yes. Oh, nice hit, kid.
Ranked 3rd in the state, these girls have come a long way, but their biggest win of the season happened off the field.
I knew it would be really hard because it's like a part of us.
It started as a conversation between mom Jennifer and daughter Addie, which usually ends in eye rolls.
I was having my daily argument with her about getting off of her phone, and the light bulb kind of went on.
The team needs new lights for the softball field, so Jennifer came up with a plan to catch the attention of donors. She challenged the team, all 27 of them, to give up their smartphones for flip phones. No apps and no social media for an entire month.
I think I instantly went, no, that's not. It's not a good idea.
But it was that idea that led to a fundraiser that caught the attention of the San Francisco Giants, which donated signed gear to help out with the auction to get new lights for the field. But something happened that night that Jennifer did not expect.
When all 27 girls came up on stage that night and put their phones in the, the lookup box, it actually brought me to tears on stage. I did not foresee 100% participation.
For Addie and her mom, that wasn't enough. This is Addie getting her brain scanned about 30 days after the digital detox. With help from the Amen Clinic in Walnut Creek, Addie volunteered for a before and after look at her brain, a kind of mapping system of what life without scrolling might actually do.
We were all surprised by the results. It wasn't what anyone expected, I think.
The results showed increased blood flow to the brain overall, especially in parts that handle decision-making and impulse control. Her test scores after 30 days went up and retention improved. But it also showed signs that looked a lot similar to withdrawal from a drug.
Whether or not that is addiction, that is still a problematic context of social media use.
UC Davis professor Drew Singles studies the effects of social media and its impacts on teenagers.
And it does not terribly surprise me that this brain scan on this one adolescent female shows changes in the brain as a function of stopping use for a month.
I know it was taxing at times.
In a post-30-day detox meeting with the team, some girls said that they felt freer and more connected to friends and family. But half of the others felt irritable without their phones, stressed and even anxious.
They haven't learned how to self-regulate because it's really easy that when you're feeling bored or anxious, you pick up your cell phone and you see what's happening. And when that's taken away, if you haven't developed self-regulatory capacities, you're kind of adrift. You don't know where to turn to, and that's a very uncomfortable feeling.
Doctors at the Amen Clinic found the results fascinating, but they wanted to make it clear that it was just an experiment and not a controlled study. Still, parents like Tom, Delaney's dad, sure noticed a change. Without the constant buzzing of texts and notifications, they ended up talking a lot more.
She was bored at times, so with boredom comes like, well, I need to entertain myself, so a little bit more family interaction.
I liked it. You didn't feel dependent on looking at what everyone else is up to, and you kind of like don't really compare and how green everyone else's grass is.
Well, on their grass, on their field here at Del Oro High School, something else happened that nobody else could have expected.
Yes!
In the weeks after the detox, the Del Oro players kept winning.
Right over the top. Yeah.
They made it all the way to the Sac Joaquin Championship, which makes you think maybe it wasn't just about skill, but also connection.
So proud of all of the girls in the program entirely, and I'm excited to see what each and every one of them is going to do next.
The Amen Clinic was not able to talk with us about Addie's results. They say the experiment was not part of their clinic, but they did say that they found these results intriguing and that it should be studied further. Coming up, it's not a Halloween costume. We're going to introduce you to a guy who's creating some buzz in the Bay Area.
What's it like when you go out in a bee costume? It's beautiful, you know? I'm just being myself.
How Mr. Bloom is suiting up to bring back the bees. San Francisco's Legion of Honor is blooming with the huge floral display. You can now check out the annual Bouquets to Art exhibit. More than 100 floral installations on display all week long. We talked with the designer of one of the biggest. He tells us it is made with thousands and thousands of flowers.
You can see we have a whole inferno behind us, so many flames on this Rodin's gallery, and that was actually the inspiration.
Proceeds from the fundraiser help underwrite exhibitions, conservation projects, and education programs at the DeYoung Museum and at the Legion of Honor. Populations of bees are dropping at alarming rates around the world, and one man in San Francisco is making it his personal mission to bring attention to the problem, and he is doing that. Itai Hodge shows us how he is suiting up, rolling out, and giving pollinators a reason to come back.
In a city where you can see just about anything, a man in a bee suit on a one-wheeler still manages to turn heads. It may look like a plea for attention, and it is, just not from humans, because Shalico McGee is trying to attract bees.
When I see weeds, I plant seeds. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
He calls himself Mr. Bloom, and his mission is to pollinate the city's forgotten corners. His method of choice, an old Parmesan shaker filled with native wildflowers, the kind that makes San Francisco bees feel right at home.
This is like a great way to connect and learn about the world around you and help support it just with the flick of a wrist.
It's a little bit of costume, a little bit of armor, and just ridiculous enough to work.
What do the bees think of you when they see you? Who knows? The world doesn't revolve around me. Those are busy bees.
It started with a simple idea. Beautify the city and bring back the bees. But somewhere between the sidewalk and the seed tosses, it took root. Before long, his social media accounts started blooming too, with nearly 1 million followers watching the city come back to life. And not a moment too soon. A recent report shows bees aren't buzzing like they used to, with more than 22% of native pollinators in North America at an elevated risk of extinction. Still, not everyone's on board with his approach. Daniel Montes of the city's Rec and Parks Department appreciates the effort, but says he'd prefer it was left to the experts.
It's not something that we encourage, but it is great to see the enthusiasm, and it's great to see that he's inspiring people.
That might sting, but it hasn't stopped Mr. Bloom from suiting up.
What's it like when you go out in a bee costume? It's beautiful. You know, I'm just being myself.
He may not have a permit, but so far, no one's told him to buzz off.
I love it. Mr. Bloom says pollinating is now his full-time job. These days, he is selling his own brand of seed packs for anybody ready to join the hive. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.